Hello and welcome to the Healing Insight podcast, episode 74, with me, Sarah Hunt.
And me, Jez Hunt.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again. Here we are, Jay. How are you?
Drying out at the moment.
Oh dear, was your break a wet one?
Yeah, well, holidaying or camping, particularly in this country, particularly when you go to Wales, particularly having lived there for 5 years or so in my past, then you'd kind of think that we'd have expected it to be a little bit damp.
But
It
you were
was
washed out.
no, it wasn't washed out. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it was sort of a mixture of drizzle, rain, heavy rain, drizzle. Oh, sunshine for half an hour, drizzle, rain, heavy rain. So it's kind of that for 4 days.
That reminds me of the one and only time I took my children camping. We went to Cornwall and we were almost washed out. If the sun hadn't come out on day 4, they would have pushed me to take them home.
Yeah.
Especially as I forgot the electric hookup, so my darling daughter couldn't do her hair as she wanted because there was no electric.
Oh, we didn't have electric or anything at all. I mean, it was only what we
I
took
think
with us.
that's part of the fun of it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly.
It is. But yeah, that was an experience. That was, is what I would say.
I remember one of the caravan holidays that we had as children. Don't know if you remember this. We went to the Western-super-Mare, that caravan park. Or was it Western-super-Mare? I think it was, yeah. But do you remember there was one year, and it was the year that Dad had regatta as the board game for the holiday, the boat one on going round the things.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, it poured pretty much the 2 weeks we were there, and I remember stepping out of the caravan into about 2 inches of water, and we were in flip flops or whatever, basically, pretty much the whole
Waving away
holiday.
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, those were the days, eh? And at the end of the day, it's a change of scenery, isn't it? It's not.
yes.
Oh, I like the heat,
Oh, it
but
was
it is a change of
beautiful. It
scenery,
was.
and sometimes to get away and
Mm.
just see a change of scenery and be out in nature and
Yeah,
yeah.
and it was beautiful countryside. It was beautiful, and the people were friendly, and it was a lovely time. Just had it been a little bit drier, might have been a little bit more fun, but we all enjoyed it, and it was all good fun, and it hasn't put anyone off going camping again. So
Well, that's good.
that doesn't bother me, but I've
Well, no,
camped in a lot worse
you're a
than that.
seasoned camper, aren't you?
But yeah, no, it was all good, all good.
Excellent. I thought it'd be interesting to have a bit of a discussion around value, as in kind of valuing yourself, the importance in valuing yourself, how if you don't value yourself, it affects how people perceive you. Um, yeah, it was kind of that was my thoughts for this session.
Okay.
I think it's I think it's an important one because one of the things that I know that I didn't do when I first went into business on my own was that I didn't value myself at all. I didn't value the skills. And so what I found was people inadvertently took advantage
Yeah.
of my good nature. And I allowed it to happen,
Yeah.
because I wanted to help people. Um, and then I started to realize that actually I've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding, a lot of skills. And so if we couldn't actually sort everything out within the allotted time space, then we needed to make another session. That was an indication that another session was needed rather than just carrying on till we'd kind of got where we needed to get, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's something that I've been very aware of over the whole of my life, really, is that that often we don't value ourselves, and that may come back to people's perception or our perception of people's perception of us. Also other people's standards, other people's expectations of what we should achieve or shouldn't achieve,
Yeah.
which actually might not be anything to do with what's right for us. But it has an effect on how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive our skills and how we perceive where we're at.
Yeah. So there's a number of things at play here, I think. That so just going back to your point about business, I mean, just I don't know, looking at various clients over the years that I've worked with, sometimes the way they price things, the way they value themselves is by looking at the competition of what they do and looking at, oh, well, some people charge this amount and some people charge that amount. So top end, bottom end kind of thing. I'm going to pitch myself just above the middle. So I'm not the most expensive, but I'm not the cheapest, and that'll be about right. Not taking into account anything else other than they're pricing it or they're setting their value based on how other people perceive their value. But the reality is, if everyone's doing that, then no one's actually valuing themselves properly anyway. It's just oh well,
Yeah, because it's a comparison against somebody else
yeah,
rather than looking at going inward and looking at yourself and going, okay, what skills have I got?
yeah.
What have I got to offer? Um,
So there's that side of it. There's
mm,
also then, so that's one way people value things is to compare it. So I had someone wanted some coaching. I told them what the investment would be for them to have coaching with me for the period of time they wanted, and they turned around and said, "Oh, that's expensive." Yeah, but what are you comparing it to? What's it's expensive compared to? Because we're talking about some coaching, or in your case, healing or whatever, that is a life-changing thing for that person. What's that actually worth? And it's
mm,
not about, we've talked about this before. It's not about, it's about valuing yourself. It's not about setting a price that's unachievable for people. It's about valuing it. I have 24 years experience of doing what I do. So, if you went, so if you went to a accountant who's got, I don't know, 20, 30 years experience, right? You would not expect to pay them £50 an hour, £30 an hour, £20 an hour. They wouldn't charge that anyway. They'd be up in the £200-300 an hour, £200 an hour, because of the experience that they have, and that's how they choose to price it. Same with solicitors. So why shouldn't anybody else? And I'm not just talking coaches or healers but anybody who does what they do, the experience they've had that's got them there has value.
mm.
And I
Does
think,
it
sorry,
not come back to, sorry, does this not come back to mindset though? People have been kind of pushed into a poverty mindset, so they don't actually value themselves, and and instead of, yeah, and so it's like they I look at things, and you'll find on my website I tend to use the word investment, because to
yeah,
me, if
absolutely,
you're coming for any kind of workshop with me, or if you're coming for healing, it's an investment. It's an investment in your health. It's an investment in your well-being. Whereas people tend to look at things as, oh, it costs that much.
yes,
And to me, that immediately puts them in a place where they're not looking at value. What's the and not just the value of the skills of the person that's offering the service, but the value to them. What's the value to me of this workshop? What's the value to me? What is it going to do to help me? And that's the way that I would look at it. And even if it was, me applying for a job, I would be looking at what is the value of me taking on that role? What am I going to learn from it? What am I going to develop? Where am I going to go with it? What opportunities does it then present to me? So it's not just that, is it? It's kind of more than that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If someone who comes to me struggling with anxiety, and they're so I don't know, for example, one of my recent clients went went to a stag night, and before I worked with them, the anxiety was at such a level that they would have found an excuse not to go, because they only knew one or two people, the rest of the people they didn't know. Working on the anxiety, that person, my client, went to that stag do and had an awesome time, had an amazing time. So what's that actually worth? If you overcome an obstacle that's stopping you from living a, balanced, exciting, fun life, because you get anxious every time you think about a particular type of thing, or when you're going to go into a group of people you don't know, or when you go outside the house, or whatever it might be, what's that actually worth? And that's the point, is we can get stuck on comparing things to other things that are actually completely unrelated.
It's the apples and pears
Yes.
scenario, isn't it? You're trying to compare apples with pears rather than apples with apples. And no two people will offer exactly the same thing. They might look at the same subject matter, but they'll look at it from a different perspective. So you can't compare even similar courses, because they won't be the
No.
same, because of the way they're delivered or presented, because of the way that the materials are put together, because the person that's actually leading and facilitating the learning. There's so many variables, and I think that's the same in life anywhere, really, isn't it? There's so
Yeah.
many different variables, but it all starts with learning to value yourself.
Yeah. If you look at both you and me, we could both do things on self-doubt. We could both do things on anxiety. We do both do things.
Yeah,
Your approach to anxiety and how you would help a client deal with it is different to how I would do it.
yeah,
There might be some overlap and there might be some similar things we did, but the end result would be right for the client.
yeah,
So it's about, I believe it's about, so us as practitioners, us as people providing a service, valuing ourselves in terms of the outcomes, the deliverables, if you like, that the client will receive at the end of working with us, whether it's a one-day course, whether it's a do-it-yourself course, whether it's a full year-long coaching program, whatever it might be. It's also about us as clients, if we're buying something, valuing ourselves and tuning into, so for example, people might come to you for anxiety, help with anxiety, but might not come to me because they don't resonate with me and my approach. Doesn't mean I can't help them, but they're resonating with you, not me, or vice versa.
mm,
And it doesn't make it wrong. So it's about valuing yourself enough, I believe, to invest in yourself, but with the person that you feel most connected to.
yes,
And
absolutely.
the thing is that people, so when we're looking at commodities, so for example, a washing machine. So I don't know, can't think of a brand of washing machine at the moment. Indesit,
Bosh.
Bosch. Okay, Bosch. Let's use Bosch. Right. So a Bosch washing machine, I don't know, ABC A model, right? Then that's a commodity. If you know that that's the machine you want, you can go online and you can search Bosch ABC model, and it will be exactly the same model, even if it's at slightly different pricing because different people are selling it at different offers or whatever it might be. But you know that that's exactly the same thing. If you type in help with anxiety, then yes, you might come up with 20 or 30 different people, or thousands of different people. I don't know, I've not searched it. But you could come up with a whole load of options, but they're not the same. They're not like buying a Bosch ABCD model washing machine.
Mm.
They will be different approaches. Some will use meditation, some will use healing, some will use just questioning, some will use self-help guidance, some will use CBT, some will use, there will be a lot of different techniques that could be involved in that. So then people go down that route of doing the apples and pears, doing the, well, an anxiety course is an anxiety course. That's it. When actually what they're doing is comparing Bosch with Hoover, with fridges, with cars, with, they're mixing everything up and trying to justify or rationalize the pricing of something. Oh, well, that's expensive. Like I said earlier. Oh, well, that's expensive. Yeah, but compared to what? What are you
Yeah.
comparing it against? Against a cup of coffee every day? Yes, it's expensive. But compared with a life-changing outcome that you're going to get from it, what's that actually worth?
Yeah. But this is why it's so important to go inwards, isn't it? And if you're, and we've picked on kind of courses because it's something we know about,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but if you're looking for a course, what I tend to do if I'm looking for something, I'll go with my intuition. What am I drawn to? But I tend to have a list of things that I want to cover. So within the course, I want X, Y, and Z because
Outcomes.
that's the outcomes or information available to discuss and
Mm-hmm.
understand or whatever. But I'll have gone inward and gone, okay, what is it that I need to learn? Okay, it's this. Right. So I'm looking for something that covers X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
So if I find a course that's doing A, B, and C, that's no good to me.
yeah.
If I find a course that's got X and Z but no Y, then I'm still going to keep looking because I need X, Y, and Z. And really what I want is one course that'll cover all of it, not two different courses that I've got to do where I'm taking chunks, if that makes sense.
It,
So it's kind of having some clarity as well, isn't it, on what it is that you want. What outcomes do you want? What outcomes do you feel you'll get from what you choose to do? And listening to your intuition. And the other thing is manifesting what you need to be able to do the course that's right for you. I think we're talking about courses at the moment,
yeah,
but it's coming back to it comes back to if you're meant to do a specific course, that will happen. And look what happened with you years ago with the NLP course.
yeah.
Was it the NLP one? Where you were not in a place where you could have easily paid for that course, but there was a way of it happening for you, which it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's because you really wanted to do it. It met your needs and your expectations, and so you were able to manifest it in the way that you needed to manifest it. So it's kind of it's a bit more complex, isn't it, than that. But it's I think it's really important to understand that we need to be looking at what we're drawn to, not just look at the price, but what am I drawn to? What feels right for me? Okay, this course looks like the best one for me. Okay. I need to have a little word with the universe because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to actually be able to pay for that or access it or whatever. And then you put it out to the universe and a way is found. If you're meant to do that course, a way is found for you to do it.
Yeah. It goes a lot deeper. I mean, we're talking about courses and we're giving sort of specific scenarios. It goes a lot deeper than that in terms of belief in yourself. So whether it is self-doubt related, whether it is not good enough related.
Yeah.
Because if you believe in yourself or you believe in progressing, you believe in self-development, you believe in spirituality, you believe in the universe, believe in whatever you want to believe in. If you believe in that enough, then you will invest or you will be in the right frame of mind, the right mindset to invest in yourself. So therefore the correct courses, the ones that are right for you in that moment, will present themselves
They'll
in
present
some way to
themselves.
you, and you will be able to
Invest.
manifest to do that program. I mean, although we're using courses, it's not just that. it's that belief in yourself.
Yeah,
So
it comes back to that,
do
doesn't
you
it?
value yourself as a
Yeah,
person? So let's just take it away from buying stuff.
yeah.
If you value yourself as a person, you are more likely to take care of yourself and do the things you need to do, whatever that might be. So it could be, do you value yourself up? Do you value your health enough to not sit on the sofa eating crisps, watching rubbish TV for hours and hours on end versus getting up and going for a walk and being in nature and helping your mindset, helping your body, helping by not eating the bad things, by not just sitting inactive, but also by getting out in nature. You know, there are things we can do. I do that because I value myself and I value the benefits I get from being out in nature. I mean, these last 4 days away, in terms of resetting my energy, well, not that I needed to reset it in that way, but just in terms of relaxing and, you know, that sort of feeling of just peace and nature and love and life. It's
That's
just,
moving into a place of bliss, really,
yes,
because
exactly.
that's where we're supposed to be. You know, we're supposed to be in a place of bliss, and a place of bliss all the time. And most of the time, we only experience bliss in short bursts.
Yeah.
And to me, bliss is being in your heart center, feeling the love that's there for yourself as well as for others. It's about having gratitude. It's about kindness. It's about being happy and joyful and in the moment. And when you're in that moment where you're accessing bliss, you're accessing your super conscious, and that then helps you to be really creative and bring into your life whatever it is that you feel you want, that you really desire. And when you really value yourself, it's easy then to bring those things in. But it also comes to, when you value yourself, you have boundaries in place as well. You
Mm-hmm.
have healthy boundaries in place. And that was something that popped in as you were talking earlier, of the importance of having healthy boundaries in place so that you're showing others what's acceptable to you and what's not acceptable to you.
Yeah.
And that's part of valuing yourself as well, isn't it?
Yes. So it comes down to, do you value yourself? I mean, um, so boundaries are how you want people to treat you, behave with you, or whatever. They're not detrimental to other people. They're just like an instruction of, actually that's acceptable, that isn't, whatever it might be. But we don't set boundaries in place because we don't value ourselves. So if we don't set boundaries in place, then other people step over us. You know, they'll step across our boundaries. They'll
And they
take
don't value us
advantage. They don't value us.
because we don't value ourselves.
So that then can exacerbate and the whole self doubt, belief in oneself scenario. If we have limiting belief issues or a not good enough issue, that can actually make it worse. See, there you go, proves I'm not good enough because everyone's stepping over me.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
actually it comes just down to, what do I want from life? And you know, every one of us can be happy. It doesn't matter what our circumstances are. It doesn't matter how well off we are financially or not, or we can still be happy.
yeah, because it comes from within.
Yes.
Because we've got to find it within ourselves first of all. Um, and that comes then back to not just being happy, but happy with who we are,
Yeah.
happy with being in our own skin, happy with the way that we react and respond to situations, happy with how we learn, happy with every aspect of ourselves. And if we're happy with ourselves, other people are happy with us
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Not everyone's going to resonate with everyone,
no.
but if you're happy in your own skin, then other people will just accept you as you are.
Yes, because so for me, for me, I don't. It doesn't worry me what other people think about me. So the people I'm
Mm.
closest to, the people I love and have a really deep connection with, all get me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just being me. And there are people out there, I am sure, well, in fact, I can think of a few, who don't resonate with me, and they think whatever they think. I don't know what they think, but they think whatever they think about me. Well, that's fine. It doesn't bother me because I'm not meant to resonate with them, because there's someone else out there that they're meant to connect with that will resonate with them, or whatever it might be. So when we get to that point of loving ourselves and accepting ourselves for us as we are, and accepting that not everyone's going to get on with us, and that's the same for everybody on the planet, not everyone will get on with everyone anyway, then once you accept that and just let go of it, then it doesn't matter. It's a lot easier to be yourself all the time and not worry about people not getting on with you. Well, that's fine. I'm not your person. Go find your person.
Mm. But it comes to self-acceptance, doesn't it, really? It comes back to self-acceptance.
Yeah, it's
It's
it's just being happy with
who you
it's
are.
being happy with who you are,
Yeah.
with the understanding that you can always be better. So we've talked about this before. You can't be better than you are right now. So right
Mm.
now in this moment, I cannot be better than I am right now in this moment. Now, in a moment in 2 minutes' time, 2 weeks' time, 2 years' time, I can be better because there's experiences and knowledge and things that I can acquire and what have you in that time to be able to make better decisions and better choices. But in that moment, if we bring that forward to now, in that moment, I can't be better than I am right now, but I can learn and progress in the future. So we've always got that. There's nothing wrong with wanting other things in our life. There's nothing wrong with wanting to better ourselves. But that doesn't mean just because that's what I want to achieve in the next year, then I'm no good as a person now because I'm not there now. It's
Mm.
about learning to be happy where we are right now, because where we are right now is where we're meant to be right now.
That's a message that I've had a few times recently.
Funny that.
Funny that, yeah.
But
But
that
it's
doesn't
true.
but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean we can't pursue something. It doesn't mean we can't get better at something. We can't have interests and, oh, actually I want to invest in this program because it's going to help me understand this aspect of myself, or
Mm.
whatever it might be. Aspiring to be better, there's nothing wrong with that.
But that to me is about developing, isn't it? We
Yeah.
we need to develop ourselves. And if I look at my younger self, and kind of come through the years, I can see so much development on so many different levels to get me to where I am now. And I'm sure absolutely everybody on the planet could actually do the same. And everybody will have developed, some more than others in different aspects, but that's okay because that's part of the journey. But it's taking that moment to look and see and understand that actually all of us have value. All of us, every single one of
Yeah.
us on this planet has value. But we need to recognize that value in ourselves first of all, for other people to really recognize the value. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's do you I think the thing that it's when we don't pursue something. So for me, change is inevitable. Change is going to happen whether we choose it or not.
Mm.
And it'll happen around us and to us if we don't do something about it. So
Mm.
my viewpoint, my philosophy on it is I want to be instigating the change that happens in and around me and around my life, rather than just settling back saying, oh well, life happens, this is it. It's a choice.
The choice, and it's being open to opportunities and seeing those opportunities and embracing the opportunities and the change that it brings.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, and I've done it myself so many times, resist change
Yes.
because it's taking us out of our comfort zone. It's making us think, um, am I going to let myself down? Am I going to embarrass myself? Am I actually capable of this? And we think all the negative talk. And I think back to and one job in particular that I can think of when I was selling endoscopy equipment. And my boss said to me, she said, you're absolutely brilliant when you're in your comfort zone. But as soon as you're given something new to do and you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone, you lose your confidence completely. And that was so true. And, even now, I still waver at times when there's something new being presented to me that I need to be working with. But it was really bad back then,
Mm.
bad. And I would get myself in a right panic and stressed out completely because I'd got to do something new and I'd be scared I'd get it wrong and what have you. Um, but it's because I didn't value myself. I didn't value my skills. I'd got a lot of self-doubt. I lacked self-confidence. So it was all right when I knew what I was doing. But as soon as you put me in a position where I wasn't totally sure, then I would get in a bit of a pickle. And then as soon as I'd like got a good understanding, then I was back in my comfort zone again. And that was another skill that I'd added to my skill set.
Yeah. It can be fear of the unknown. Well, that's, so if you don't know what's going to happen, then that can hold us back from getting out of our comfort zones. The comfort zone, regardless of whether it's good for us or bad for us, it might be, we might know that it's not good for us, but we stay there because it's known. It's a known entity. It's a known quantity, and actually, it's not that bad. I'll put up with it because I know that feeling. I know what that's like. But if you think about it in our life is a journey of constant learning. Otherwise, we'd still be lying on the floor, not able to move, wiggling around like little babies. And, we learn. That's part of who we are. That's part of how the human race evolves. How we're born and we start learning from that moment on. So to me, my journey is one until the day I move on from this life. It's one of learning. I will be learning something new every day about myself, about life, about how I interact with the universe, whatever it might be. I don't know what some of it's going to be. For me, it's, do I value myself to invest in myself, to invest in my expanding my knowledge, expanding my awareness, going on different courses, listening to different books. It doesn't have to be, just reading a book, listen to an audio book, just going out in nature, doing painting, doing things that you love is all part of investing in yourself. And it's not necessarily about spending lots of money. It's giving you what you need. And if you need downtime, if you need to go out in nature for an hour, then do you value yourself enough to say, in my case, the clients will have to wait for this next hour because I need to do this for myself to be in the best place to help my clients. Yeah. That kind of mentality, that kind of thinking. And to me, this whole investing in yourself, it's all areas of my life.
Mm.
It's, do I value myself enough?
Yeah.
So,
and that's the question, isn't it? Really, that is taking us a bit of waffle together.
This could have been a 2-minute podcast, guys. This could have been a, do you value yourself enough? There you go. Ponder on that for a bit.
But we've got there. And we obviously needed to talk through what we've talked through for a reason. But really, and maybe people need to do a little bit of journaling. Do you value yourself enough? Yeah. What do you do that shows you that you value yourself? What could you do to value yourself more?
Yeah, not what would you do for someone else? What could you do for someone else? What do you do for other people? No. What do you do for you?
Do for you.
Yeah.
That's what it comes back to me. What do you do for you that shows you that you value you?
Well said.
And on that note, we'll leave it there. Hopefully that's given listeners loads to think about. But yeah, do a bit of journaling around what do you do to show you that you value you.
Like it. Thank you very much for your time. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Jay, as well. So until next time, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.